They say, if you hear wings flapping after midnight, don't look up, because it's not a bird, and it's not alone. Fade into a shadowy village under a full moon. Distant dogs bark, wind rustles banana leaves. Somewhere, something sharp slices through the silence. The night air in the provinces of the Philippines holds more than the weight of heat and silence. It holds Stora's ancient, whispered tales passed from Lola to Ape, from dusk to dusk, through candlelight and prayer, and none is whispered more fearfully than the legend of the Manananggal, a creature with the face of a woman, until it's not. By day, she walks among you, hair pulled back, rosary around her wrist, quiet smile on her lips. But when the sun sinks and the moon calls, she leaves half of herself behind. Her torso splits clean at the waist, pot-like wings, stretched wide, grotesque and powerful, and with entrails dangling and mouth twisted. She rises into the night sky, hungry, always hungry, and what she craves is the taste of something new, something growing, someone expecting, because the Manananggal is not just a monster. She's a predator, and she knows where you sleep. Pace Part 1. The first sighting. It begins, as these stories often do, in a quiet town, hidden somewhere in the thick green spine of the In the village of Saibalam, there lived a midwife. Her name was Aling Rosa, and she had delivered over 100 children in her lifetime. She believed in herbal poultices, boiling guava leaves, and the power of salt placed beneath the windowsill. Because Rosa, like the rest of her neighbors, knew the signs. She'd seen the claw marks on rooftops. She'd heard the faint flapping of leathery wings in the distance soft, like the turning of a page. One night she was called to a house near the edge of the rice fields. A young woman was in labor. First child. The house was old, made of wood and capiz shells that glowed gently in the moonlight. Inside, garlic hung on the door, but Rosa hesitated. Something felt wrong. There were no crickets that night. The dogs were restless, pacing in tight circles. And when she looked through the window, she saw nothing. No stars. The sky had gone black above the roof. As she stepped outside to collect more water, she heard it. The unmistakable wet sound of something there. Above the thatched roof hovered a shape. Its face was human-twisted in a grin that knew her name. Its body, torn at the waist, dripped black against the moonlight, and wings vast and skeletal beat the air in eerie silence. She had seconds. Without turning back, she shouted to the family, "Get the salt now." But even as the salt was scattered, the Manananggal began to descend. Not all folklore fades when you turn on the light. Some wait for when it's darkest, when the body is most vulnerable and the womb is full. Because the Manananggal doesn't knock. She hovers and listens. Foe for the heartbeat within. To understand the Manananggal. Centuries ago, long before the Spanish arrived, the islands were already thick with stories of spirits in the forests, of creatures in the wind, of things that walked on two legs by day and flew on none by night. The name Manananggal comes from the Tagalog word tangle, meaning to separate or to remove. By. It is not a creature born whole, but one that splits. A woman who appears ordinary by daylight, but as the sun sets, she finds a hidden place, and tears herself in half. Some say she uses a special oil-blurk and thickest tar that grants her the power of separation. Others say the curse is older than language, passed down through bloodlines, whispered through wombs. Either way, her transformation is violent, but quiet. No scream, no struggle. Just the sound of something once human becoming something else entirely. Local elders warn, if you find a torso hidden near banana trees, if you see jars of foul-smelling oil in a home with no mirrors, if your neighbor walks without a shadow at noon, you may not be living next to a woman at all. But something waiting for night. And it is at night that she hunts with a tongue, long and thin as a needle, slithering down from the sky to puncture the thatched roofs of sleeping mothers. She drinks not just blood, but life. Pregnant women were once told to sleep with salt around their bed, to hang garlic from their doors, to hide mirrors, lest the creature catch her own reflection and remember what she lost. Because the Manananggal was never simply a beast, she is a warning. A figure born of deep-rooted fears about motherhood, jealousy, and what happens when women become too powerful or too alone. Some stories say she was cursed, betrayed in love, or wronged by a priest. Others say she chose it, that she was never a victim, but always something more, a woman who split herself in two, to escape the parts of life that caged her. But no matter the origin, the result is always the same. She flies, she finds, and unless her lower half is destroyed before dawn, she returns whole again, and hungrier than before. The Manananggal may sound like a myth locked in the past, just another tale to frighten children into obedience. But even today, across the rural provinces of the Philippines, sightings are still whispered, not by storytellers, but by farmers, nurses, soldiers, and yes, by midwives. In 1992, in a small town outside, reports spread of livestock found mutilated organs, removed cleanly, without a trace of blood. At first, it was blamed on wild dogs, and plea, until one night a man returning from the fields claimed to see a figure above the treetop, half a woman, trailing entrails like ribbons in the wind. He dropped his tools and never returned to that field again. In 2004, a provincial hospital in Capiz saw a rash of premature labor cases. Nurses began noticing something odd. Pregnant women reporting nightmares of a winged creature perched outside their windows, whispering their names. Security guards doubled their patrols. One morning, a staff member found claw marks on the third-floor windowsill 30 feet off the ground, and in 28, viral rumors spread online about a Babay na Maypak Paco, woman with wings spotted near construction sites in Quezon. The videos were blurry, the comments filled with nervous laughter. But locals weren't laughing, because no one could explain why the dogs howled in unison every midnight that week, or why every single pregnant woman in the barangay was told to sleep with scissors beneath her pillow. Skeptics call it hysteria, mass delusion, a shadow twisted by imagination. But in the villages where power flickers and trees whisper, people know better. The Manananggal doesn't care if you believe in her. Ooh, she only cares if you're alone, if you're expecting. Your windows are unlocked, because once the wings beat overhead, it's already too late. They say every monster has a weakness. The Manananggal, for all her horror, is no exception. But, like most ancient things, the key to surviving her is not just knowing, it's remembering. Salt, scatter it on her lower half. The torso she leaves hidden in tall grass, banana groves, or beneath floorboard. Without it, she cannot rejoin. She will wither with the rising sun, shriveling into a husk, caught between human and something far worse. Garlic, not just for cooking, but protection, hung on doors, tucked into bedsheet. A scent, sharp and defiant, keeps her from drawing near. Ash, vinegar, holy oil. Some say sprinkling these on her waist will keep her from ever becoming whole again. Others say prayers alone can ward her off, but only if spoken with true belief. But beware, because the Manananggal listens. She learns, and in some villages they whisper that she has adapted, that she no longer hides her lower half in plain sight, but conceals it in sacred ground or behind locked church doors. Some even claim she pays others to guard it, in exchange for a promise, a favor, a secret kept. And so the stories continue. In every corner of the archipelago, people still line their windows with salt, still wake at night to strange sounds on their roof, still wonder if the woman who sells fruit in the morning will sprout wings when darkness falls. Because to this day, no one can answer the question that chills the spine. If the Manananggal walks among us by day, how many of her are there now? How many women smile with too many teeth? How many rooftops have felt that quiet weight? How many children were never born because something got there first? And if tonight you hear something sharp against your tin roof, don't go outside. Don't turn on the light. Don't look up. Instead, reach quietly for the soul. And hope her lower half is far, far away. Tie in the stillness of night, after the candles are snuffed and the stories have been told. There's a silence that settles in. A silence not of peace, but of waiting. The Manananggal lives in that space, not only in the skies above Nepa huts or the shadows behind mango trees, but in the gap between folklore and fear. Between what we know and what we hope is only legend. You see, every culture has its monsters, but the ones that stay with us year after year, generation after generation, they don't survive just because they terrify. They survive because, in some twisted way, they explain something. The Manananggal is more than a creature with wings and hunger. She's a mirror of fear, of envy, of loneliness, of the unspoken dread of what might come for us in the dark when we are most vulnerable and most alone. So, tonight, as you lie in your bed and the wind brushes your window like fingers across silk, remember the stories, remember the warnings, and above all, if you hear wings outside your room, don't open the curtain, because some shadows are not meant to be seen, and some monsters are not meant to be doubted. They're meant to be survived.